Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History,
the historical calendar,
and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else we gather throughout the show, check the description. Anyway, I am Xander.
I am Locke.
And today is Sun's Day, also known as Sunday, April 3rd, 2022.
You start it off, please.
Alright. In the year 686, Maya king Yuknum Yikshak assumed the crown of Kalakmul. Alright. An interesting name. They're talking in bird, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Also today, 801, King Louis the Pious captures Barcelona from the Moors after a siege of several months.
Dang. Barcelona. That's in Spain, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Jumping on up over 200 years, in 1043, Edward the Confessor was crowned King of England. Interesting. I wonder why he's called the Confessor. So, actually, why was Edward the Confessor?
Because I confess, it was me.
The last but one of the Anglo-Saxon kings of England, Edward was known for his religious faith. He is known as the Confessor because of his life was characterized by piety and religious belief. Okay. Alright, so that's why. Doing another time skip here. Do you want to take this one?
Yes. Ooh.
Bless you.
Yes. Yes, I will. Also, 1559, the Peace of Cateau-Cambrai Treaty is signed by ending the Italian Wars.
Nice. Another time skip here, jumping on up into 1721, Robert Walpole became, in effect, the first Prime Minister of Great Britain, though he himself denied the title. So, I mean, here's the quandary. If everybody says somebody is something, but they deny it, is he that? Now obviously he is that if it's a bad thing, but if it's a good thing, was he the first Prime Minister even though he denies being it? Who's to say? What happened in 1860?
1860, during the first successful United States Pony Express run from San Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California begins.
Nice.
Okay, so I think William Cody.
William Cody.
Oh no, Buffalo Bill.
Oh yeah, he was a Pony Express guy, wasn't he?
I think so.
I think so too. Anyway, 5 years later, in 1865, during the American Civil War, Union forces captured Richmond, Virginia, the capital of the Confederate States of America, and right across the river from Washington, D.C., the capital of the Union. So, that's intense. Two warring nations, and their capitals are literally within miles of each other. You can see them. You can see each other. That is frightening. Jumping up in 1882, during the American Old West, Robert Ford killed Jesse James. Oh. You want to take 1885?
Yeah. In 1985... In 1985...
It's 1885.
In 1885, Gottlieb Daimler is granted a German patent for this engine design.
That was the inventor of the, what was it called? Diesel, right? I'm looking at this. No, he was a pioneer of internal combustion engines and automobile development. He invented
Diesel.
he invented the high-speed liquid petroleum-fueled engine. Okay, so he invented the internal combustion engine. That's pretty cool. Moving on up into 1888, the first of 11 unsolved brutal murders of women committed in or near the impoverished Whitechapel district in the East End of London occurred. Is this Jack the Ripper?
This is Jack the Ripper.
Ah, here we go.
Yeah, it is Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. You there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Ah, okay. All right. Moving on up into 1895, the trial in the libel case brought by Oscar Wilde began, eventually resulting in his imprisonment on charges of homosexuality. That's not good. You're gay, so you go to jail. No, I do not like that. So. Anyway, jumping on up into the next century here, in 1920, attempts were made to carry out the failed assassination attempt on General Mannerheim, led by Alexander Weckman, by order of Aino Raja during the White Guard parade in Tampere, Finland.
Yeah. Also in 1922, Joseph Stalin becomes the first General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union.
Now, that seems like a nothing title, but that's how he got his power. He was
Everything.
Yeah, well, no, he was in control of everybody's schedule because he was the secretary. So he got to pick and choose who went where and when. So basically, he was puppeting the entire Soviet Union without anybody even realizing it. And then when Lenin died, guess who was in charge of planning the funeral? Guess who was in charge of everything? Mr. Stalin, the lowly secretary. Tricky, tricky. 11 years later, moving on up into 1933, the first flight ever, the first flight over Mount Everest, led by the British Houston Mount Everest Flight Expedition, led by the Marquis of Clydesdale and funded by Lucy, Lady Hudson, occurred. Interesting. There's a lot of things happening to make that work. Almost sounds like government. So. 3 years later, in 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann was executed for the kidnapping and death of Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., the baby son of pilot Charles Lindbergh. Well,
Poor baby.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go through that. He was too young.
Yeah, but Charles Lindbergh was a Nazi piece of crap.
Well, fuck him.
Yeah.
The child had nothing to do with it.
I agree. I'm not justifying the child's murder. It is a tragedy, but I shed no tears for Lindbergh because
I know.
Yeah.
Also, 1942, World War II, Japanese forces began an assault on the United States and Filipino troops on the Bataan Peninsula.
Interesting. At first, I read that as Batman. So. 4 years later, in 1946, Japanese Lieutenant General Masaharu Hama was executed in the Philippines for leading the Bataan Death March. Ooh. Well, look at that. Two things about Bataan back to back, 4 years apart.
Yup. Also, 1943, Cold War, U.S. President Harry S. Truman signs the Marshall Plan, authorizing $5 billion in aid for 16 countries.
I mean, I can't say that that's a bad thing because everybody needs help, but I don't know when we started becoming like the world's freaking ATM, but we gotta stop because we're not doing too well. Also in 1948, in Jeju Province, South Korea, a civil war-like period of violence and human rights abuses began, known as the Jeju Uprising. What happened in 1955?
In 1955, the American Civil Liberties Union announces it will defend Allen Ginsberg's book Howl against obscenity charges.
Ah, good. What was Howl about anyway? Let me look that up real quick. Howl, also known as Howl for Carl Solomon, is a poem written by Allen Ginsberg in 1954 through 55 and published in his 1956 collection Howl and Other Poems. The poem is dedicated to Carl Solomon. Ginsberg began work on Howl in 1954. I'm not seeing how this, let's see here. It came into be associated with the group of writers known as the Beat Generation. It is not true that Howl was written as a performance piece and later published by poets Lawrence Ferranetti of City Lights Books. I'm not going to look for why it was considered obscene, so I'm just going to put the wiki link in the underbar. Before I do, though, I'm going to take us into 1956, in which the Hudson-Standell tornado occurred. The western half of the lower peninsula of Michigan was struck by a deadly F5 tornado. Oh, wow. That's not good. F5s can grow to be about a mile in diameter. Those are big tornadoes.
Yes. Oh. Where are we at now?
1968.
Okay, 1968. Martin Luther King delivers his "I've been to the mountaintop" speech. He was assassinated the day later.
Well, that sucks.
Yes, it does.
I was going to make a joke about York peppermint patties, but with the Family Guy thing, that's a little too convenient, you know. You know, maybe he did make it to the mountaintop, but he never came back. You know, he just kept eating that peppermint patty and getting sent back. I don't know. I should shut up. But before I do, I'm going to take us into 1969, in which during the Vietnam War, United States Secretary of Defense Melvin Laird announced that the U.S. will start to Vietnamese the war effort. Whatever the hell that meant. What? Vietnamese the war effort. I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
What happened in 1973?
In 1973, Martin Cooper of Motorola makes the first handheld mobile phone call to Joel S. Engel of Bell Labs.
Nice. And now we all have mobile phones. So actually, these are more than just phones. Who even makes phone calls anymore? Like, or text or anything? Now everybody just FaceTimes. Anyway, 365 days later, 1974, the 1974 super outbreak occurs, which was the second biggest tornado outbreak in recorded history after the 2011 super outbreak. The death toll is 315 people with nearly 5,500 injured. That's a lot of people. 1975, Bobby Fischer refused to play in a chess match against Andrei Karpov, giving Karpov the title of world champion by default. Oh, he forfeited. Dang.
Also, 1975, the Vietnam War, Operation Baby Lift, a mass evacuation of children in the closing stages of the war begins.
Dang. That reminds me of the Hey Arnold episode with Mr. Oh, what was his name? Wing? No, Mr. something. I forgot. But yeah, he came from Vietnam, I think, and he lost his daughter. Didn't lose her. Like, they got separated.
Yes.
Yeah. What was his name? Mr. Wing?
Yeah, he says it in the end of the episode.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Mr. Wynn, I think. Anyway, moving on up into 1980, the U.S. Congress restored a federal trust relationship with the 501 members of the Shivwitz-Kenosha Kusharim, and the Indian Peaks and Cedar City bands of the Paiute people of Utah. Alright. Well, that's good, I guess. I don't know why anybody would trust our government, especially after what the natives have gone through. So. What happened in 1981?
1981? In 1981, the Osborne won the first successful portable computer is unveiled at the West Coast Computer Fair in San Francisco.
I gotta look at this. What did portable computers look like in the 80s? The Osborne one. Oh, that thing. It's that giant suitcase thing that pops open in the front. Alright. Well, I guess it is a portable computer. 8 years later. Yep. 8 years later, 1989, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the jurisdictional rights of tribal courts under the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978 in Mississippi Koshlaw Band versus Holyfield. Good.
Also in 1993, the Grand National Horse Race is declared void.
What? The Grand National Horse Race. Is this some other race of sentient beings that we are not aware of? No, it's just a race. And the next one is...
It's just a pony.
Yeah. Well, apparently the next one is Saturday, April 9th, the 2022 Grand National. So it's coming up, actually, pretty soon. Why do you take 96 as well here? The first one.
In 1996, the United States Air Force Boeing T-34 crashes near Dubrovnik Airport in Croatia, killing 35, including Secretary of Commerce Ron Brown.
T-34? I thought that was a tank.
Yeah, when I think about the T-34, I think about tank, not the plane.
Yeah. Huh.
Unless he found a way to fucking make tanks fly.
Well, I mean, remember Russia did try doing that. Like, they have that flying tank. It actually did fly, or glide, for a little bit. But, anyway, also in 1996, suspected Unibomber Theodore Kozinski was captured at his Montana cabin in the United States.
The Unibomber.
A Unibomber.
The name that will forever go down in history.
Yep. It is a pretty badass name, though.
Yeah. In 1997, the terrorist massacre begins in Algeria, but all of the 53 inhabitants of Thailand are killed by guerrillas. Fucking apes.
Jesus.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not guerrillas. It's the army.
Yeah, it's still a good joke. I mean, they are nothing more than apes if they're just going around killing people like that, you know.
No, apes got more manners than that shit.
Yeah, it's true. Jumping on up into the next millennium in 2000, United States versus Microsoft Corp. Microsoft was ruled to have violated United States antitrust laws by keeping an oppressive thumb on its competitors. What happened to that? What happened to that? That was 22 years ago, and look at where we're at now. What happened to that? Bring it back! God. Anyway, in 2004, Islamic terrorists involved in the 2004 Madrid train bombings were trapped by the police in their apartment and killed themselves. Alright. Bunch of cowards. They don't want to face the retribution of their actions, so they rather go to hell. Alright.
2007, the 2007 conventional train world speed record. Damn it. 2007 conventional train world speed record. A French TGV train on the LGV ST established a high-speed line, set an official new world speed record. But it doesn't say the speed.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, France's TGV Train à Grande Vitesse reached 574.8 kilometers an hour, which is 357.2 miles per hour. That's a fast train. That's a really fast train. Jeez. Anyway, 1 year later in 2008, ATA Airlines, once one of the 10 largest U.S. passenger airlines and largest charter airline, filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 5 years and ceased all operations. Ay, ay, ay. Bigger you are, the harder you fall. So.
Let's see. Where are we?
2009.
2009, Julie Ateliers Wong opens fire at an American Civil Association Immigrant Center in Birmingham, New York, killing 13 and wounding 4 before committing suicide.
Wow. What the hell? What's the point?
There's no point.
Yeah. There's, I guess you could say it was a hollow point. That's a very bad joke. I'm going to hell. Anyway, moving on up in 2010, Apple Inc. released the first generation iPad, a tablet computer. Here we go.
Yeah. You know what? In order to... You're better off buying a gaming PC than that damn iPad.
Yeah. What happened in 2013?
In 2013, more than 50 people died in floods resulting from record-breaking rainfall in La Plata and Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Jeez. That sucks. 3 years later, in 2016, the Panama Papers, a leak of legal documents revealed information on 214,488 offshore companies. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know?
Down.
Yeah.
Also, 2017, a bomb explodes in the St. Petersburg metro system, killing 14 and injuring several more people.
Jeez.
Okay.
And last but not least, in 2018, YouTube headquarters shooting. A 38-year-old gunwoman opened fire at YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, California, injuring 3 people before committing suicide. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that should happen because she had a long hatred for YouTube with YouTube.
I have a gargantuan hatred with YouTube, and I ain't gonna go over there and start shooting people. You know, that's not the answer.
She believes they believe. I don't know. I think she was believing that they were demonetizing her on purpose.
Well, yeah. Nobody accidentally gets demonetized. Everything's intentional, even with the algorithms.
Her videos were kind of. Some people say they were recorded greatly. You know, the video editing was great. It's just she was just awkward.
Well.
And before she did the shooting, the cops even she was found parked out around that area by cops.
Scouting. Dang.
She was pretty much declared a missing person at one point.
Huh.
Yeah, the cops, told her family, and they let her go. Pretty much, they've been trying to warn about her actions.
Well, people have got to start listening to each other. Be it the people listening to police listening to people. You know, I keep banging my head against the wall with this. We are all on this planet together. We got to cooperate with each other. We got to work with each other. You know, because if something comes out from space and we're not ready for it, we are screwed. It doesn't matter if they're 1,000 billion years ahead of us in technology. If we don't at least try to stand, you know. Anyway, before we get into births and deaths, any articles pique your interest today?
2018.
Well, of course.
And the Martin Luther King speech in 1968.
Yep. I agree with those, and I also add the start of Jack the Ripper, the first successful Pony Express, the first British Prime Minister, Um, you know, Joseph Stalin becoming the most powerful person in the USSR.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of cool things happened today. Anyway, moving on into bursts. Why don't you start us off here?
Yes. In 1016, Xing Zong, Chinese Emperor.
So one heck of a time jump here. Moving on up into 1778, we have Pierre Bretonneau, a French doctor who performed the first successful tracheotomy. That's cool.
That is awesome, even in that time.
Yeah.
1781, Swarminarian. Swarminarian. Indian religious leader.
Yeah, he swam in an Aryan. That's weird. 1783, we have Washington Irving. He was an American short story writer, essayist, biographer, and historian. Hello, fellow historian.
1876, Thomas Bata.
What was he?
Czech businessman who founded Bata Shoes.
Yeah. In 1898, Henry Luce was born on this date. He was the American publisher who co-founded Time magazine.
Okay. Also, 1900s, Albert Walsh, Canadian lawyer and politician who was the first lieutenant governor of Newfoundland.
Nice. 3 years after that, 1903, we have Kamal Devi Chattopadhyay, an Indian social reformer and freedom fighter.
And in 1924, we have in 1924 we have Marlon Brando, U.S. actor and director.
I never knew what he sounded like.
He kind of sounds like this, you know. But no, he was an amazing person.
Yeah. 1926, Gus Grissom, a U.S. colonel, pilot, and astronaut. And why is that name so familiar?
No idea.
He was the first U.S. citizen in outer space, I think. Let's see here. Virgil Ivan Gus Grissom was a U.S. Air Force pilot and a member of the Mercury 7 selected by National Aeronautics and Space Administration, also known as Never a Straight Answer, also known as NASA, as Project Mercury astronauts to be the first U.S. citizens in outer space. He was a Project Gemini and Apollo program astronaut. Okay. So okay. But he's known for more than that. I don't remember. Anyway, who else was born today? In 1929, we have Fazlur Rahman Khan, a Bangladeshi engineer and architect who co-designed the Willis Tower and John Hancock Center. Cool.
1942, Wayne Newton, U.S. singer.
Yeah, he tried to steal Clark Griswold's wife right out of him, so... 1943, we have Hikaru Saiki, Japanese admiral who was the first female star officer of the Japan Self-Defense Forces. Cool.
1950, we have Iridachi Kumaraswamy, Sri Lankan cricketer and economist.
Nice. 1951, Annette Dolphin, a British academician and historian. Academician?
Yeah.
I don't know, educator. That's an interesting
1950, yeah, it is. 1950, Mike Moore, U.S. lawyer and politician.
Yeah, not to be confused with Michael Moore, who is not as grounded. But in 1958, speaking of people who are not grounded in reality whatsoever, we have Alec Baldwin, a U.S. actor, producer, television host, and murderer. That's right. Don't forget, he killed somebody. At least one person.
Yeah, 1961, Eddie Murphy, U.S. actor and comedian.
And Brother of Darkness.
Yeah.
Charlie Murphy! Bam! One decade later, 1971, Picabo Street was born in the States. He was a U.S. skier. Peekaboo Street. Peekaboo.
Now, also in 1973, Adam Scott, U.S. actor.
Yep, he's on Parks and Rec, as well as other things. So. 1975, Aries Spears, a U.S. comedian and actor.
In 1986, Amanda Bynes, U.S. actress.
Man, she's barely a year older than me. Well, not even.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, she's slightly over a year older than me. Actually, I don't know. I can't do math. Anyway, jumping up into death, started us off in 963 with William III, a Duke of Aquitaine.
1153, Al-Din bin al-Salah, Vizier of the Fatmid Kapate.
1171, Philip of Millie, the seventh Grand Master of the Knights Templar. Yo, do you have a fan or something? I keep getting like a lot of blowing noises from your mic.
No.
It's weird. Anyway, who was born today in 1630?
1630, Christopher Villiers, first Earl of Anglesey, English noble.
50 years later, in 1680, we have Shivaji, an Indian emperor who founded the Maratha Empire.
Damn. In 1844, Edward Bigg, English clerk who was the first Archdeacon of Lindsfarne.
Yeah. Archdeacon or something. 1882, we have Jesse James, an American criminal and outlaw. Didn't he do like good things for the people, like wipe away people's debts when he robbed the banks or something?
Yeah, he did a lot of things. Also, in 1950, Carter S. Woodson, U.S. historian, author, and journalist who founded Black History Month on the shortest month of the year.
What a joke. Like, isn't that the kick in the pants? Oh, Black History Month. It's in February. February is the shortest month of the year. You're getting shafted, guys. Come on. You know, if you want to segregate, at least do it right. You know. 1971, Joseph Valachi, a U.S. gangster. And actually, I saw his picture. He looks a lot like Joey Diaz. You know who that is?
Yes, I know who that is.
Yeah. Not news, images. Yeah, like this picture right here. Man, he looks... What the hell is he doing? Is he eating a lemon? Looks like he's sucking on a lemon. In a very inappropriate way, but he looks very much like Joey Diaz. Like a skinny, old Joey Diaz. Interesting. Anyway, 1981, we have Juan Tripp, U.S. businessman who founded Pan American World Airways.
1982, Warren Oates, U.S. actor.
Oates. 1995, we have Alfred J. Bells, died on this date. He was a Canadian businessman who co-founded Canadian Tire.
Yeah. Also, 2014, author guitar Boogie Smith, U.S. guitarist, fiddler, and composer.
Wasn't his birthday yesterday?
Yes, it was.
Actually, no, it was 2 days ago, April 1st.
Oh, 2 days.
Yeah, well, that sucks. He had a birthday, and 2 days later he dies. Jeez.
I know. You know what? Fuck our sources, because I'm saying this. 2018, Nassim Najer, Gadam.
Who?
YouTuber, also known as the Google Shooter.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Stop trying to put her out of fucking... Like, it happened 2 years... This shit happened like 4 years ago. And they've already tried to be... Within that year, they already swept her under the fucking rug like it never happened.
Yeah, why don't you, Actually, what's her name, man? The YouTube shooter?
Here, I'm gonna send it to you.
YouTube headquarters shooting. What was her name, though? Yeah, because I gotta add that into my script, so that way next year it'll be in here in case we forget. You know, we cannot let the powers that be sweep these things under the rug.
I'm putting it in Michael's her name because I cannot. I think I butchered her name bad enough as it is.
Alright. Alright, let's see here. Copy. That was 2018?
Yep.
Oh,
Because she died. Well, you know, she did the shooting and then she shot herself.
Yeah. Let's see. Psychopathic. Psychopath who murdered. Oh no, didn't murder anybody. Who did the YouTube HQ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. Well, we have it in here now. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar, the description, or whatever for any links that you may be interested in, which also includes...
So in TV on Twitch.
And everything Omni Coalition. For your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream every day between 12 and 3 Pacific Time in the afternoon, of course, which is also...
2 to 5 Central.
Yep. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I am Lunk.
And you are you. Until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection. Come on, guys. You know. Rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. Toodles.